And we are live here on the MBL Network. Thanks for hanging out with us, folks. A live episode of Highly Debatable, taking you up to the Season 28 MBL Rookie Draft. I can't believe they let these two lovable losers take over the network before the show, but they did, and we're going to take you right up, recap a little bit of free agency, talk some drafts. Sonny, it's an exciting night here on the MBL Network. It's an exciting night in the MBL overall. How pumped are you to get this one underway?
Yeah, it's really one of my favorite nights of the year. We're adding a little extra spice to it this year with the Highly Debatable pre-draft special here. We got some good topics tonight. I don't know what your thoughts are on this OSU, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you, throw up the scoreboard.
Yeah, it looks good, doesn't it? What's your excuse this time?
Well, I tell you, I think the live audience we get definitely favors you. I think people of my ilk prefer to watch in their spare time. They're not knee-jerk reaction type of people. So we got to get more of my people in here. But we'll see. I think I got you beat this week, though.
Well, we'll see, I guess. It was a landslide. It wasn't even close. Sonny was barely even in the game. He showed up as much as the New York Giants did in the Season 26 playoffs and the Season 25 playoffs, and they have throughout the NBL time. So let's see what you can do this week, Sonny. Let's get to round one. And in round one, let's recap what was a free agency bonanza, Sonny Weaver. There was a lot of signings around the NBL, drama all throughout, and so it's a real simple question to you. I'll let you go first. Who's your free agency winner and who is your free agency loser?
Well, let's start with the losers. The free agent loser, I'm going to go out and I'm going to say it's our very own not top five Cleveland Browns. And here's why. It's not that they didn't get anybody in free agency. It's that who they got, they spent a lot of money on. Jameis Winston, they're giving him almost $66 million. Don't like that contract. Don't think Winston's the guy that's going to come in, save this team. It's not happening. And then probably the most egregious contract that I saw in all of free agency, Bradley Roby. What is going on there? Almost $15 million a year for that guy. He's at best a number 2 cornerback, maybe even a number 3 on some of the better teams. I'm not sure I'm buying that, but let's go ahead. Let's flip it over to the winners. And my winner right here, and he's going to love to hear me say it, and I hate to have to give shout-outs here, but the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, their free agency, amazing. They bring in the defensive tackle Pierce from Baltimore. They bring in running back Marshawn Lynch. He's still got a year left in him, I think, there. He can replace LeGarrette Blount in that kind of hard-pounding offense when they get down the goal line. And then you look, Rob Gronkowski, possibly the biggest get in all free agency. He's going out to Detroit. And don't forget safety Eric Weddle. This is a team built to win right now. Very impressed with what the Detroit Lions did. And I think they've just firmly planted themselves as the favorite for next season.
Sonny Weaver's finally starting to speak some sense. I actually had the Detroit Lions as my honorable mention winner, mostly because I think that Gronk signing is great. You give a talent like Rob Gronkowski to Matt Stafford, I'm terrified to see what the Detroit Lions do with him. As for the Browns, you know what? I'm going to give him a chance with this Jameis Winston signing, only because you've seen quarterbacks change venues, change teams. They're revitalized. I think there's no doubt Jameis Winston is talented. I think there's no doubt that Jameis Winston has the ability to be a very good quarterback. I'll be interested to see how he responds playing in that division. My winner, again, honorable mention to the Detroit Lions. I'm going to give some props out to the Jacksonville Jaguars because they went out and actually spent some money, and they brought in some talent. J.J. Wilcox, nice piece for that defensive side. Jake Ryan, I think, will be a nice middle linebacker. I love that Eric Ebron signing. This was a tight end in Detroit who had a lot of success, and now he's going to go over to Jacksonville, a team that has struggled to move the ball, give him a big tight end in Eric Ebron. I love that signing for Jacksonville. I don't know what it does for them because I have to see how they play together, but I think with the talent they have at wide receiver, giving a tight end target that's an easy read over the middle, I'll be interested to see what the Jaguars do with Ebron. My loser is the defending NFC North champions Minnesota Vikings, and this is purely because of clerical mismanagement. They had some major signings, Cam Newton, Earl Thomas, Randy Gregory, and the paperwork never came in, and they didn't get any of them, and those are 3 real talented players that got back on the open market and were snatched right away. Minnesota, come on guys, get that fax machine working. We got email now. You don't even have to fax it. You're my loser for the free agency.
Well, I like the Vikings pick as a loser. What a bunch of losers out there. You get the guys in the building ready to go. And next thing you know, poof, they're gone. What I will say is, since you stole my winner, you gave them honorable mention, Detroit Lions. I look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I see a team that we've talked about it. Shirley's not really performed so well up to this point. I think they needed weapons. I know they went out and got Barclay in a trade with Buffalo. I think that guy's about as overrated as can be. But when I look at that Jaguars team, I think they're still missing something. I'm not sure Eric Ebron's the guy. I'm not sure he's reliable enough across the middle. I think Shirley's going to put him in some bad situations, some tight situations, and Ebron's ability to catch across the middle, I'm just not sure is there. That's really my only concern about that is I'm just not sure that Eric Ebron is going to be that go-to clutch red zone threat that I think they have to have. I would have actually preferred him go after Gronkowski.
The one thing I do think Ebron brings to Jacksonville that I think they needed badly is some experience in the playoffs, some leadership. This is a Jaguars team that has a lot of players that don't know what it's like to be in the playoffs. They don't know what it's like to finish out games and win games. We've seen them struggle throughout the regular season. Ebron comes from the Detroit Lions, who have won games. They know how to win. They know how to get to the playoffs. I think that leadership brings a lot to them. Again, I don't know if he's like a piece that makes them so much better, but I think it's an interesting signing, and we'll see what Daniel Shirley can do with a weapon like Eric Ebron. Sonny, I am shocked. This was a fairly tame and a cordial round one. It was a nice start to draft night.
Yeah, 1-0 Sonny Weaver.
Okay,
Next time.
Again, if you settle down. All right, settle down. Again, folks, if you're going to be voting, feel free to post in the chat. I'm looking at that throughout the episode. If you're going to vote for a winner, use hashtag OSU wins, hashtag Sonny wins. We'll be counting those up after round 3. So feel free to post now if you want, but we won't be counting until after round 3. Let's go to round 2. And in round 2, let's talk about the rookie draft that's happening tonight. Season 28 getting underway. And a very easy question here. Which team needs to kill at this draft? Which team is under the most pressure to succeed in this draft? Sonny, I'll take this one first. And for me, this was a team I didn't think I would be talking about in the rookie draft. A team that did fairly well last year. But for me, it's the Buffalo Bills. And here's why. The Bills, I think, they went out, they in free agency made a lot of noise trying to sign Hunter. Made a lot of noise. We know their owner, Homer, is a big Minnesota Vikings fan and wanted to bring him to Buffalo. And there was a lot of talk about how much money they were throwing at Hunter. There was a lot of shade thrown at the Carolina Panthers for the contract they gave out to Hunter, which sounded more like bitterness out of the mouths of the Buffalo Bills. Then owner Homer goes on Twitter and says, while we've stopped we didn't get Hunter, that was our plan A. We are now going to the draft, and the draft is going to be our focus. Here's why the Bills have a lot of pressure on them. They told their fans we failed in free agency. Now their fans are going, all right, well, we wanted Hunter, who we know is a star player. Go out and get us a star. They don't have a very high pick in this draft. They're going to need to go out and have a solid draft, because at the end of the day, if they don't have a solid draft, they've lost an offensive weapon. They didn't sign Hunter, and they're playing in the AFC East, where all these teams that are with them all have high draft picks and the ability to draft superstars. The Buffalo Bills, you're on the clock, and you got to have a real good draft tonight.
Well, that's interesting you went there, because I was getting a little worried when you're setting up that you're going to steal my pick. One note there at Buffalo, they did acquire another third-round pick for Barclay. They're kind of their rookie do-everything wide receiver last year. A little surprised they traded him away. I personally don't like him, but then again, Buffalo apparently didn't either if they're sending him away after 1 year. Where I'm going to go with this question, like I said, you scared me there. I'm going with my good friends, the New England Patriots. And here's why we're going with the Patriots. The Patriots lose Gronkowski. They lose Dion Lewis. They lost Chris Hogan. They've lost all these guys. Then what they do, they go out, they mortgage their future. They move up to take pick 28 from Atlanta. They're going all in right now to win now. And that's saying something. You say New England Patriots, you think they're the crop of this division. They lost the division last year to the Buffalo Bills. 2 years ago, they stole it late with kind of a freak happening down the stretch in that last week. Really, the Bills have owned this division. And I think the Patriots right now are getting desperate, and they've cashed in their chips. They've pushed them all to the middle, and they said, tonight is the night. We're going to go out. We got to replace Gronk. We got to replace all these guys. It's a big thing for the future of this franchise. Tom Brady's not there anymore. Rob Gronkowski's not there anymore. Who is going to lead this franchise? We're going to find out tonight.
All right, Sonny, well, I'm going to read you a tweet. This is from our very own Skip Bayless NBL, at @SkipBayless_NBL. He tweeted out, the Buffalo Bills have traded their best offensive weapon. The Patriots had the worst offseason I've ever seen. The Dolphins are still the Dolphins, so I'm saying this, Jets will win the AFC East in NBL Season 28. Book it. What do you think of that prediction right there? I know a lot depends on where the draft goes, and certainly the Patriots do have that ability, and the Bills and all these teams have that ability to draft a player that could change their franchise, but as it stands right now, as of before the draft, are the Jets the favorite in the AFC East?
No, not at all. I do like the move they made there with Jay Ajayi. They brought him in to take over that running game, and I really like it, actually. But I still have some serious concerns on the outside. I don't think they have the weapons to compete out on the edge. Their line's got some issues. I really like the draft that Buffalo had last year. I get it. They trained away Barclay. I'm not as concerned there. I think they're going to be okay. They got to replace LaShawn McCoy, obviously. But overall, I really like what Buffalo's doing up there. I think Buffalo's the cream of the crop.
I'm so scared with Buffalo because they lose LaShawn McCoy. They come out saying how much money they have to spend. They go after Hunter. They go after Tevin Coleman as well. They get neither of them. Both of them went going up to Buffalo and playing football. Nah, I'll just go anywhere other than Buffalo and picked other teams. They added TJ Yeldon, who is not an answer at running back at all. And they traded away Morris Barclay. I just think that this team needs to hit on the majority of this picks, especially that third-round pick they traded Barclay for. They've got to hit on these picks because if they don't, aren't fans in Buffalo going to be sitting there and going, all right, so we lost a great running back in LaShawn McCoy. We didn't get anybody in free agency, and we didn't get anybody in the draft, and we're playing in a division that is very winnable right now. What are you doing? Because they also lost Charles Clay. What are they doing with this personnel management? I don't like what Buffalo's doing at all. They need to hit real hard.
Let's roll it.
All right, well, how about we go to round 3 and talk a little more draft? And the talk around the NBL draft is Rashard Swan, a player who has been projected by our very own NBL Bleacher Report to go number 1 overall out of Texas, 6'5", 224. This dude is a beast. He's got great hands, and he is a big frame on the outside. Sonny, the question I'm going to ask you is Rashard Swan the best player in this draft? Not necessarily will he go first overall, but is he the best player available?
Rashard Swan is, in fact, the best playmaker in this draft. You look at this guy, and he's got everything you could want. Some people look at his 40 and say, well, he's not fast enough. I'm telling you right now, this guy is fast enough. He will get downfield. He will make the tough catches. For all the offenses, obviously, there are a lot of them at the top of this draft that are struggling. He's going to be a guy that you're going to want to have on your team. He's very similar to Calvin Patrick. We saw him last year go to Philadelphia and the impact he had on that offense. I think he's going to be a game breaker. And one thing I have to say is, like anything, a lot of it matters where he goes. There's some bad offenses up there. Don't judge him by his stats early on, because it may take a year or two or quite possibly 4 for him to get to a new team before you really see how good Rashard Swan is.
Here, when I look at who the best player is, my criteria that I always go by is who's going to have the most immediate impact. And I think when you start throwing out things like it may take 3 or 4 years to see how this guy does, especially if he's drafted by a bad team. I get wide receiver is that position that everybody, wide receiver and cornerback are the 2 skill positions that everybody want to claim that the best players coming out of those places. Look at their 40 time, look what they can do on the offensive or defense side of the ball. I'm going to give some love to those big guys in the trenches, and I'm going to give some love to Malcolm Horton. This guy's going to be great, and if he falls, especially around where the Oakland Raiders are picking, you better guarantee the Oakland Raiders are snatching this guy up. 6'6", 264 on the edge. He's a sort of fits in that 4-3 defensive end sort of scenario. He ran a 4.61 40. 6'6", 264, ran a 4.61 40, the fastest out of the defensive ends. He was the fastest 3-cone. He was the fastest shuttle. He reminds me of Takaris McKinley, and we've seen what kind of player McKinley can be. We've seen what sort of effect he can have on the game, and I don't care what team you put him on. A wide receiver needs a good quarterback to throw to him. Malcolm Horton, I don't care how bad the defense is. You put him on the field, he's going to affect play right now. And I know a lot of people want to overlook the defensive line, don't want to use a top 5 pick on somebody like that. I'm telling you, Malcolm Horton's the real deal, and he's a guy that doesn't matter how bad the team is. Malcolm Horton is going to be great. I think he's the best player in this draft.
Wait, now, okay, so it's easy for you to throw out buzzwords like Takarius McKinley. He's nothing like Takarius McKinley. Takarius McKinley is an undersized kind of a speed rusher. This guy's nothing like him. I think he's plotting. Obviously, you throw out his 40 time. It's okay. I like it, whatever. He's bigger, though. I think he's not going to be able to drop his shoulder, get around the edge. If he's falling, you just said if he gets to 12. If he gets to 12, you can't go into this draft saying he's the best player in the draft. He's not the best player in this draft.
No, if he falls to 12, I can say the 11 people before 12 are idiots.
If he was, he wouldn't be there at 12. So the fact you're even considering it proves that you don't believe he's actually one of the best players in this draft. I will tell you right now, he will make it down to you at 12. You will take him, and you'll be sadly just disappointed in what he provides.
I like Sonny Weaver sitting here and going, he's not fast of all. Fastest 3-cone, fastest shuttle, 4.61, 40. Those don't mean anything. How about this? Let's never run the combine again because Sonny Weaver has determined that they don't count. Doesn't matter the stats you throw up in the combine. Doesn't matter what you do there. It matters what Sonny Weaver thinks, and Sonny Weaver is going to once again disappoint with his first-round pick. This guy is great, and everybody hates to go defensive line because it's not the sexy position. Fans want to see star wide receivers. They want to see the shutdown cornerbacks. This guy is a pass rusher, and in the league that we're in now, where running is so important, this guy can seal the edge, create a contain, not let those running backs in Carolina bounce outside, not let the running backs like Dalvin Cook in Minnesota bounce outside. He can seal that edge and make sure that these outside runs don't go for much yardage, and whichever team takes him is going to be real happy. I still think Swan is a very good player. I just think when you start going, he's going to be great in 3 to 4 years on a bad team. Well, that's not a best player. That's a best player in 3 years.
Well, he is the best player right now, but
now he's the best player right now. Got it.
Unfortunately, there's a good chance he ends up in Philadelphia and he's stuck in purgatory with Calvin Patrick. So, bad luck, buddy. Sorry.
What can you do? All right, again, we're after round 3, so go ahead and post in the chat. If you're watching this not live, go ahead and post in the comment, hashtag OSU wins, hashtag Sonny wins. Sonny Weaver, it's time for our shout-outs.
It's a landslide.
It's not over yet. Settle down. The highly debatable shoutouts. This time where we get to prop somebody in the league, prop somebody in the ownership sphere. Sonny, I'll take this one first, okay? I'm gonna give a big shout out to you, to Mr. Sonny Weaver.
Hey!
And here's why I'm gonna give a shout out to Sonny Weaver, and this is a credit to the NBL Network a little bit as well. But a lot of people questioned what this show would be. A lot of people questioned if it could really be a weekly show. A lot of people questioned if that bald head of yours would show up every week. And so far, you've done it. And I'm proud of you. We did some great work. I know that Super Bowl sort of didn't happen, but we did some great stuff there that'll set up some future broadcasts. So shout out to you, Sonny Weaver, for so far not disappointing me in 4 weeks. I'm sure in week 5 you'll make me very sad.
Probably. It wouldn't be the first person I disappointed after just a couple dates. So anyways, moving on, let's go ahead and throw a shout out there. My shout out is also to an owner, but one that's no longer with us. My shout out goes out to Justin Baston, longtime owner, one of the originals. He's now gone, and we're gonna miss you, big guy. Life will go on. We will move on, and shout out to Jay Baston. He's gone, and now I'm the second most tenured NBL member.
Oh, that's
just
terrifying.
Wanted you guys to get that fun fact in there.
So terrifying. That's not good for anyone. That's not going to prop us. Don't say that. All right, folks, as always, again, post your winner in the chat or in the comments below. Sonny, we've got an NBL rookie draft starting in about 10 minutes. Just a programming note, we are just going to go off the air just to switch over the stuff to the draft, but we'll be right back on 8 o'clock. Sonny, pick-by-pick analysis, one of our biggest shows of the year. And there's always one player we're watching for. Everybody remembers Dingle Watch. Sonny, do you think we're going to have somebody like that in this year's draft?
Oh, it's probably it's going to come up. Well, time will tell. They normally work their way up to draft boards, and you start hearing the chatter about them. I just know I'm excited to get started with it. Like you said, one of our best shows of the year, and I can't wait.
All right, yeah, let's get ready for that Season 28 Rookie Draft starting at about 8 o'clock Eastern Time, folks. We appreciate you tuning in to Highly Debatable. We will see you next week for another episode of our live debate show, but hopefully we'll see you in about 8 minutes right here on the NBL Rookie Draft for Season 28.